Somewhere in the middle of the South Atlantic Ocean, there is a town so far from everything that it holds an official title of the most isolated settlement on Earth. Only around 250 people live here. This island is known as Tristan da Cunha, and when you look at it on a map, it almost feels impossible. It is not close to a continent. It is not connected to any major route. It is just a tiny volcanic rock surrounded by endless ocean. The nearest inhabited land is the island of St. Helena, around 2,400 kilometers to the north. The nearest real city is Cape Town in South Africa, almost 3,000 kilometers of open ocean away. There is no airport, no landing strip, no quick emergency flight, and no harbour for big ships. The only way in is a small fishing boat that makes the journey from Cape Town just 8 or 9 times a year. That trip takes around a week, and even that only happens if the weather is favourable. But the most interesting part is this: you cannot move there, even if you were rich, even if you were ready to leave everything behind and live a simple life in the middle of the ocean. Because the island does not accept new residents, not even citizens of its own country. So who are these people living at the edge of the world? Why have they stayed there for more than 2 centuries? And why did they once leave this island completely, only to come back again? The story begins with one of the most famous men in history, Napoleon Bonaparte. In 1816, after Napoleon was defeated, the British locked him away on St. Helena, another remote island in the Atlantic. But then they got nervous, because nearby there was another empty island, and they feared the French could use it as a secret base to launch a rescue attempt and bring Napoleon back. So Britain formally annexed Tristan da Cunha and placed a small military garrison there. But the threat of a Napoleonic escape never materialised. The British government decided the island was no longer important, and so a year later, the soldiers were ordered to leave. And this is where history took a strange turn. A Scottish corporal named William Glass, along with his wife and 2 children, requested permission to stay, and joined by 2 other soldiers, he became the founder of a town at the edge of the world. Over the decades, the sea delivered the rest. Shipwrecked sailors, stranded whalers, men from Italy, Holland, America, washed up by accident, who decided to stay on purpose. And slowly a tiny community formed. To this day, almost everyone on the island carries one of just 7 family names. For 150 years they lived quietly. No real money system, no serious crime, no big class divide. Work was shared, food was shared, tools were shared. Life was hard, but it was also simple. Then in 1961 the ground started shaking. The volcano they had built their lives on woke up. Lava broke through the earth just a few hundred meters from their homes. Smoke rose, the land cracked, and suddenly this peaceful island became too dangerous to live on. All 264 islanders were evacuated, first to a nearby island, then all the way to England. And this is where the story should have ended. A tiny community from the most isolated settlement on Earth suddenly landed in modern Britain. Televisions, cars, salaries, supermarkets, hospitals, schools. A world where food did not depend on the sea. And most outsiders assumed the islanders would never look back. But when the volcano calmed down, the islanders were given a choice. They could stay in comfortable, modern England, or return to a remote rock with no airport, no luxuries, and an active volcano. They voted, and it wasn't even close. Almost all of them chose the island. They had seen our world, the traffic, the noise, the strangers, the locked doors, so they rejected it. Because on their island, life worked differently. No one locks anything. Keys stay in cars. Children roam free, watched by every adult nearby. There is no crime. Everyone is a neighbour, a cousin, a friend. Nobody is rich, but nobody is alone. That is what they went back for. Not the land, but the life. A life where people still belong to each other. The Island Council protects this way of living like a treasure because they understand something very important. A few outsiders with different money and different expectations could break what took 2 centuries to build. But here is the quiet, sad twist at the end of this story. The population is shrinking. The young are fewer. Year by year, the most isolated town on Earth is slowly fading toward emptiness. So the place that rejected our world may not survive on its own. These people saw everything we call progress, comfort, money, options, convenience, and still they chose a simple isolated island with no modern luxuries over the world we have built. So what does that say about us? What does it say about the lives we are chasing? And what does it say about a world where we have everything except the feeling that we truly belong somewhere?